Hello and welcome, everyone. I'm so honored and happy to have Gary Craig, the founder of EFT, amazing personality in the field of, I would call it integrative medicine health. Thank you so much, Gary, for spending the time. We said we're going to do the interview. And also Tina Craig, which I think, Tina, you are program director of ASAP and also basically quality control, right? Responsible for early quality education and heavily involved with EFT and especially with Gary. So thank you so much for spending the time and being here.
Sure.
You're welcome.
Glad to be here. And we have a clarification point to make. So
yes, absolutely. Let me introduce the whole why we talk, because I didn't expect it, because I basically the way it started, I wrote an article last week about EFT and a doctor, and it's not just one, but several said, energy psychology, a lot of the things that are coming now on the market, so to speak, that are available, they focus so much on quick fixes.
Yes.
And so I wrote this article, and I didn't expect a response, really. It's like, whoa, I must have hit a nerve, or maybe I didn't explain myself well enough in the article. But anyway, then you called, and we had a great conversation, and we said, you know what, maybe it's a good way, from a mental health perspective, which I'm coming from Mental Health University, and you as the founder of EFT, or both of you, to clarify and to put things into perspective. So here we are.
Well, as I recall, and the kind of response you got, I got as well, because people started emailing me
Right.
about what was said there, and they weren't too happy about it, and so on. So we had this conversation, and the essence of it, I understand well, and that's where the perspective comes in. You had some member of your meta health, a doctor, I believe, who, and I'm paraphrasing here, he basically said this EFT, energy psychology stuff, is put forward as some kind of a quick fix, and I think I quoted him right. I don't think so. There's a lot more to it than this, that, and so on, and we have to bring in other things as well, and how are we going to? This thing is put forward like all you have to do is get an hour or two's training, and then you can fix the world, and
right.
We're never coming from there. Tina, you raised your hand. Do you have some thoughts?
Yeah, it was just the part about that email that stood out for me is, hey, do I really think I can go learn a new method in 2 days over a weekend and then really go get these kind of results? And that was the part that stood out for me, because that's certainly not what my program is based on. And I don't agree that people can do that. And I actually talk them out of that perspective on a regular basis, just because of the overwhelming exposure of EFT and the fact that people market it in a way that sounds attractive. I think they go overboard on it.
Yeah, and thank you for that. Let me kind of fill in there if I can. Part of this I'll take responsibility for, because in the very early stages of EFT, around 1995, when I brought it out, I had no idea how big it was going to get.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not really, a credentialed therapist and this kind of thing. And so I put it out, with what I call a very open hand policy. Here, folks, do what you want to do with this precious thing, innovate with it, blend it with something else and all of that. Of course, people do that. I also kept getting all kinds of miracle results that people would send me, and I had no way to filter them. This is years ago now, okay? I just took people at their, I just believed them, put it out, and what they were reporting, I have no way to say wasn't accurate at all. However, what happens is people will try just the basics, which is what most people understood in those early years, just the basics, and would sometimes get astonishing results. Migraine headaches would just go boom like that, never come back sometimes, okay? Pains of various kinds, war trauma and so on, with a few people would have astonishing results. And that's what got reported. The vast majority of people who would try it and not get those results with the basics said nothing. They just sort of went off into the background saying, oh, something's wrong with me. I don't get these results. So in the early years, this was misleading, but we're well aware of that problem now. And what is happening is there are a lot of commercial interests who are involved now with EFT, and they're trying to promote it to the world, and they're enthusiastic about it and so on. And of course, these quick fixes sell. People always love a quick fix. We're sitting here in the background saying, no, 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 learn how to do it correctly. There's much more to it than, tapping in a few points and magically having something go away. We need to get down to specific events. We need to get down to, the core causes of these things and not these symptomatic results. So I'm here to agree with you. I'm also here to let people know that there's much more to EFT than what the commercial interests are putting forward out there. So anyway, that's my little spiel for the moment.
Yeah,
Any other thoughts?
Yeah, and I think, and I'm so happy you say that, because obviously, as you know, I love EFT or energy psychology. I worked with live feedback for so many years, energy healing and so on, and so I know it works. But I think the point that I picked up is that because in Mental Health University, we connect a lot with integrative medicine experts, doctors, naturopaths, and they use EFT or energy psychology too. But the idea of selling it as a quick fix or thinking it's the only thing there is, that was what I was trying to address. But I think we totally agree on the effectiveness, and the depth, if you are trained in a professional way. And so, Tina, I think that's your expertise, because you wrote the I would say the professional educational manual for that, right?
Right. Right. Are you looking for my soapbox now too?
Yes. Now you're on the spot here.
Well, the ASEP is the Association for Comprehensive Energy Psychology. They were founded by psychologists, PhDs. So not only licensed mental health professionals, but people with advanced credentials. And their caseloads are, more difficult than the average practitioner out there. I guess I would hope.
Yes.
I think people without training may sometimes go where they don't belong. But we market primarily to licensed professionals, and so I'm interacting with therapists all the time, and I am in the position of helping them use EFT with their cases. And when you have somebody who is suffering from depression or anxiety or PTSD, which is actually a run-of-the-mill caseload for a licensed person. That's basic stuff.
Mm.
The specific events in those histories are, they're intermingled, they're especially traumatic, they've resulted in very stubborn belief systems. And we can use EFT to get in there. And compared to a more traditional approach like CBT or something else, EFT really speeds up the process, and we get really, really great results. But the person applying EFT needs to have a significant amount of training in how to navigate through that, how to find the right targets, how to work through a specific event that may be connected to others. And that's just, I have 3 levels of certification for people to go through. And, it takes us a while to get through those skills.
And incidentally, unless I have this wrong, Tina, I think a lot of the people who come through your program, this is kind of my phraseology here, but what they're basically doing sometimes is resisting what you're trying to tell them because they have been conditioned by the quick fix and the other less than optimal procedures out there.
Yeah, well, the licensed people don't generally come from that perspective. They usually appreciate good, solid training, so they're happy that we've designed our training for them. I think just in comparison to other programs, the other programs are also including, do-it-yourselfers and people that are just getting started working with other people in the mix with the existing professionals in the field. And I find it challenging to teach all of those groups at once at a quality level. So I would like to separate the audiences. I think as a practical matter, if I'm in one of the other organizations, I'm going to take whoever comes to my workshop. And, I think that's just what they're dealing with. So we end up intermingling the expectations and the skill levels and the client bases. The only trouble I've had is with the grandparenting process, where I'm taking people that have years and years of experience with the older EFT. They're from that older school of, hey, EFT works on everything, and we just have to tap for a couple of minutes, and we'll be on our way. They don't test as well as we'd like them to. They don't get to specific events the way we'd like them to. And in my my impression is just that they don't follow up on their cases in a diligent way. The licensed therapists generally have people in therapy for a much longer time, so they can make a bigger difference, and they can see a longer term process and really get more accurate information for us. But the grandparenting process, where people are more conditioned by the quick fix, are the ones that tend to be more resistant when they want this credential, because I want more from them.
Yeah, I really like what you're saying, because that is kind of the approach we use at Mental Health University, where we found, it just takes I think at least 2 years for us, at least in terms of mental health, which is not a technique, but it's this foundation knowledge, really how body, mind, soul work together, what's causing health issues, what's the triggers, and as you said, the specific triggers, and you connect the specific triggers with specific organ issues. So we found the same situation, that people need 2, even 4 years of solid training to be really excellent and to be able to work with the more serious cases, because it is a whole other difference. A lot of the doctors I work with, they have serious health issues. And that's where this in-depth training really has to come in. But on the other hand, I also see the point for, I call it the home use or personal use. I think it's great. You can do so many things just for yourself, EFT and energy psychology methods. So I think there's space for both, but it has to be, from my perspective at least, solid, high-quality training in any technique is really what we need. And I think what happens is that then suddenly integrative medicine becomes a reality, because we merge the best of traditional medicine with the best of integrative or complementary medicine. I think that's what we also strive for, at least that's what we do.
Okay, great.
And I point out that we've adjusted the language on emo-free in the last few years, and we like to design our materials so that do-it-yourselfers can get as much benefit as they can. But we also say, hey, if it's complicated, if you're not getting results, hire a professional. We have people who are properly trained, and they can not only get you started and maybe do all the work for you, but they could also coach you through your own process. So there's a lot of benefit to acknowledging both ends.
Right, Gary.
No, I'm.
Oh, I thought you wanted to jump in.
No. I can talk forever on this topic, but I think we've made the main points.
Yeah. I think we all three could probably talk for a couple of hours here on this, but and so I think and you know what? If that article, which I didn't intend actually, but if that article stimulated that kind of discussion, then I think it's a great thing that it happened, because if you can encourage health professionals to get more professionally trained, properly trained, not just a couple of weekends here and there or one weekend, but really, there's so many wonderful trainings out there. If it's EFT and with mental health, it's different, right? It's a whole other aspect. But I think that's a great discussion to have.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
Johannes, thanks so much for letting us put this perspective out there. It's been very helpful.
Thank you, both of you. And it's amazing to talk to you, and just so thankful for all the work you're doing. So really appreciate that. Thank you.
All right, and thank you too.
See you soon.
Bye.
Thanks. Bye-bye.